Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Color Me This. I am going to walk through my swatch book today. It is a 3-inch binder. I'm going to actually back up a little bit so it's easier to see the whole thing vertically. All right, I think we're good. So I have been collecting markers and colored pencils since I hit the road in 2016. That's not true. Copic markers I started collecting in 2014. And by the time we sold our home and I retired and we hit the road, I had a complete set of all 358 Copic sketch markers, as well as a few of the regular squares, because they had the fine tip nose that I use for doing more delicate work, especially with my making cards, A2 size cards, which are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is a redo of that book and a redo of everything, because we lost everything in on December 30th, 2017. After we had been on the road traveling since March. We were in Texas we got in an accident and the trailer was destroyed and everything in it. So this is everything. The only thing that was saved from that accident was the square markers that had the fine tip were in one of the Copic hard canvas black cases, and we weren't allowed to go through because it involved a tanker truck and our trailer had sewage and propane. We were not allowed to go through the wreckage, but they did recover some items, and one of them was the Copic case of the regular squares. So these are all of what I've collected up while traveling full time, and everything that I bought had to be stored away. I bought the zippered envelope, the zippered books. I have not gone through them because most of my pencils now, as you've seen, are out in totes, in an open tote. So I have these by brand name alphabetically. I like to alphabetize everything. And I have some extra little swatch pages of my material. Like this over here is some drafting film strips. I have some craft paper and this is just some metallic colored pencils from Crafter's Closet. That would have been the dollar store. My favorite medium to swatch on, which is of course probably what everyone wants to know, whatever I'm going to use the pencils for is what I try to swatch. So the main medium that I use is it's a smooth paper. It is called Basic White. It is a Stampin' Up! Product, and there's a product very, very close to it that is called Nina Solar Cover Copy that I also get, and that is in 2 weights. I get the 80-pound and the 110-pound, and the Basic White from Stampin' Up! Is 65-pound. So I try to put little notes at the top of what it is and what paper I am swatching on. This particular style of swatch came from the folks who resell Copic markers in the United States, and this is very old, this style, and there's these circles. You're supposed to punch out the holes. I have punched out some of the holes. I have not been consistent with that. My hole punch that I have is actually a craft punch, and it's a little bit bigger than a regular paper hole size of like a 1/4 inch. I think it's like 1/16 bigger. So I have not gone through and punched these. The idea on the ones that I haven't punched through is that I will get myself a regular hole punch sized punch a single. I have the one that does the all three, but that would be like really a nightmare to try to punch these out. So my very first set is the Amazon Basics 72. I even wrote down when I bought them, was on February 2nd. That would have been 2022, and I paid $19.21. And you usually buy my pencils with a task in mind, which at the time that I bought these, I was attempting to replicate the Prismacolor colors as best I could without having to buy the Prisma 150 set. I'm not a Prisma Premier person. I had never even used them. Technically, I've only used them on one project, I think, one or two, in craft paper for my traveling journal that I have. But I wanted to be able to replicate their colors as best as I could, and through my watching of YouTube videos, the Amazon Basics had a very close match to a lot of the Prismacolor Premier pencil colors. So this is the swatch of the 72 set on Nina Super Smooth. Nina comes in a variety of smoothnesses. You can get smooth and super smooth, and the one that closely approximates Amazon Whisper White or Basic White is the super smooth. So those are swatched on the Nina. I also know that I wanted to be doing colors on craft, so I have, since this set of pencils was going to be done on craft as one of its uses, I went ahead and swatched the front and back of both sides on this heavy-duty craft cardstock, which approximates my travel journal's craft. I've got a bunch of empty holes here because I have moved these particular swatches to a different swatch book that I may have actually given you some already a peek of what that's for. That is for the actual exercise of matching the Prismacolors. That actually turned into like a much bigger project soon after I got into it. So here I was with the Amazon Basics. I had the Nina, which I told you was a close approximation. This is the Stampin' Up! Basic White. And I went ahead, because I had just bought the Amazon Basics and I like to really get to know my pencils, I went ahead and did the swatches on the Basic White and the Nina Super Smooth. And you can see a little bit of difference in how the coverage on the page looks. The Basic White is actually even smoother than Nina Super Smooth. And you can see how smooth I was able to get my pencil marks compared to the marks, as even if I try my hardest to get Scarlet to be totally 100% coverage, because without using a blender or Gamsol or anything like that, I was able to get a better smoothness on the Stampin' Up! Basic White. Then we have, when you get to the, what I consider in the blues and purples, you can get a sticky consistency on the paper. Both of the Basic White and the Nina Super Smooth got that weird stippling look when it would actually like stick to itself. Oh, and it looks like I mixed these two up. That's funny. So that is why right there I actually swatch on every paper that I'm considering using. And I also want to get to know the pencils through the swatching process. Isn't just to swatch the colors, but to also get to know the colors as well as possible before I embark on a actual coloring project. So the next is the Brute Funers. I have the pastels. I needed to get a set of pastels. Again, in the exercise of matching the 150 set, I really had to get a pastel because I had the Amazon Basics, and I also bought the Brute Funer squares, which I absolutely love. I love them even a little bit better than the Amazon Basics. I find the Basics are a little bit golly, a little bit slippery. It's hard to say the difference. They kind of have a slicker, a little bit more resistant feel to them than the Brute Funers, which go down probably the best of any pencil that I have tried. They're like a little bit between the Prisma, which to me, now that I own the Prismas, they color like a crayon, and I do not like that. And the Polychromos, which are the ones I have the most experience with, are very silky. That's the best word. So I am going to say that the basics are a little bit on the slick side is the best way I can define them. So if you've used the Amazon Basics, what one word would you use to describe them? The Brute Funers, I knew I was going to be doing on possible on black. I wanted to see what they looked like on black, being that they are a pastel pencil. They go really well on, this is Bristol Smooth that I'm using at this point to get the colors down. I also put them on Nina Super Smooth. I say 65, but it's actually the 80 pound. And then I also put them on Craft. So I had a really good exercise with the pastels. I really enjoyed working with them. And then I also did on the Craft, because this is a surface I'm definitely going to use them on. I did an exercise where I put a base of white, I believe that was Prismacolor white, and then the pastel right below the pastel on the Craft itself. So that if I want to get a little bit more of a pop, what does it look like with white under it, in case I wanted to help get it a brighter color. Here's the last page of it, and then I have an empty page, which actually is an extra Brute Funer. I made 2 sheets of this, one with the Stampin' Up! Basic White, and here's the Nina Super Smooth. The Basic White, nope, it is in here. So I don't know what this extra page is. I have something pulled out for another purpose, because on this particular sheet that I printed out, I'm not too picky about always having my swatch sheets all look the same. I will hunt around on the internet and find what I think is the best swatch I can possibly have, and I really wanted the 120 set on a single page. I also, what might be, I still don't know what this page is. I have the Prismacolors. There's 150 of them, but I found a swatch sheet that puts them all on one page, and I have made that set as well. So the Brute Funers, I went ahead and did, I wanted to get a more modeled surface, so I grabbed some Canson 1557 drawing paper. And here is what they look like on the left. I've got it with multiple layers, as solid as I can get. 2 layers, 1 layer, and then this middle layer is actually using a blender pencil. And in this case, I believe I used the Caran d'Ache Bright blender pencil. Here is a set of Brute Funers that I told you I have the larger whole Craft punch. So this is the full set. I got these before the Amazon Basics. I went ahead and punched this whole set out and decided, nope, I do not like how big the hole punch is. I want to get a smaller punch. And I have since not got the smaller punch, so I have not ended up punching out the rest of my sets that I use this sheet. I still try to always make sure that I have the colors go to the edge, if at all possible, for the swatches that I want to do color matching with. Then I've got the Brute Funers all on Craft, not front and back, so I have a lot more sheets used, and I did not use the back for this exercise. I think the macarons I got last, as well as the Amazon Basics, and so those I decided I need to start conserving on this Craft because I only have so much of it. This is the Amazon, or the Stampin' Up! Craft. So here's luminance. I've had these since 2018 or 19. And again, I cut all of these out with the larger punch. Love these pencils. I did the luminance on the Craft as well. I did all of the luminance on the Nina. This is, I believe, the luminance book, and the Pablo, this is the Pablo swatch. Is this the swatch? Yes. So over here, Pablo's I bought last summer. And here are the Pablo colors swatched on the Pablo provided. This actually comes in, you have to cut it off. And I think it was part of the wrap around the red tin that they came in. And I really am pleased with the Pablo. The Pablo and the luminance, they feel like a drier, more silky, but a little bit more buttery than a polychromos and a little softer. And here are the Pablos. I remember I bought these more recently. I had already decided, nope, I'm not going to punch holes in until I get a smaller hole punch, which I probably, now that we've landed, I see no reason why I can't, because I have room now to store it. The Pablos on Fabriano Artistico, I have them on 1557 Canson Drawing. And again, I put them on the edge so that I can see how they match up to colors if I want. And getting used to what they feel like on the various papers that I could possibly use. And then I also have the Pablos on the Duralar. Now that I have drafting film, I'll have to ask myself, if I find a big enough difference between the Duralar and the drafting film, do I want to go ahead and swatch them also on the drafting film? And then I have a blank page, possibly for the space for the drafting film exercise. And then we have the Inktense. Oh, Derwent Drawing. This Craft sheet are the 24 Derwent Drawing. That is the full set. They're all earth tones. I do have these colored on different mediums that I have after the Inktense, and I am redoing this part of the video because I was in error and said I only owned some of these, but I do own the full set. Then over here, I do have a full set of Inktense. They're a very unique India ink. I'm not sure if I will ever use them or will use them a lot, but I got a good price on them, so I have not even bothered to stop and swatch them, though I have saved all of the space needed to swatch them on a variety of surfaces. This Fluid 100 is a really good watercolor paper. It is also the watercolor paper that Stampin' Up! Has in its catalog. Now we're moving on to Derwent Drawing. Hey, I should actually move this drawing. Oh, all of the drawings are here. So I snuck the Inktense in, and I have this Derwent Drawing Craft before the Inktense, so I will probably have to come back in here and swap it out so that the Derwent Drawing is here and move the Inktenses over. But if it is in alphabetical order, I should do the opposite and move all of the Derwent Drawing to one side. Inktense should be in the middle between drawing. And here's my Light Fast. The drawing, like I said, is a very... Oh, no, drawing is different. This... Let me take it back. Take it back. This is different than the artist pencils. The drawing is a very large pencil with a thick core and is very soft. So I mistakenly told you where the artist pencils, which should be here, I have not even swatched, evidently. So we'll see if I come upon Derwent artist pencils, which I own a subset of, maybe 15 or so. All right, back to Light Fast. This is the Nina. I have already corrected from the 65 pound. It is actually 80 pound. And the Light Fast pencils for me are a little on the sticky side, and the dark colors do the weird clumping. You can see here some clumping gathering going on, and that I think is part of their sticky nature. Love all of their colors, love the vibrancy though. They're very nice and vibrant. So I colored them on Nina, haven't punched the holes, put them on on 1557 Canson Fabriano Artistico. I put them on Duralar. Oh, and then here's Derwent Studios. The few that I own are called Studios, which is interesting because I see the word artist on mine, so I might have to revisit exactly what I have. I guess I'm leaving a little bit of extra space because I do have my drafting film now that I need to come back to. So the polychromos I bought in 2018. They are ones I have owned the longest. I bought the Albrecht Dürer watercolors first, and then I only bought the 60 set, thinking that with watercolor you get the more variation in the colors, so you don't need the full 120. But for the polychromos, I bought the full 120, and this is done on Bristol vellum. Here is the end of Bristol vellum, and now we're going on to the Duralar and the rest of the Duralar. Love the polychromos. They're probably my absolute favorite pencil, though I love all pencils. And I need to get back to the polychromos and put them on the Fabriano Artistico, which I believe on the last video, 2 videos ago, I talked about this cat. I believe this cat is drawn on Fabriano Artistico. Here's my Albrecht Dürer 60 watercolor set. I put it on the Fluid 100, and then I also did it on some really inexpensive, a big book of watercolor paper. It might be Strathmore, I'm looking down here, Strathmore 300 series watercolor paper. It doesn't give me a thickness, whatever thickness that is. And I believe this Strathmore pad that I have, I've had for 30 years. All right, so now we have, this is Hammermill cover copy. And whatever I bought, oh, you know what this is? $118.20. I believe that this is for my Prismacolor. Yep, this is going to be used for my Prismacolor premieres, which I bought first a 36 set, did a little bit of a test with it, did a project in my traveler's journal, and then soon thereafter decided for my exercise of matching the colors, I'm going to need the full set. So now I own the full set. But I do not think, I swatched for 36, and here is what they look like. Like I said, to me, they feel a lot like using a crayon. They're so soft, and they're just not to my liking, but I have them now that I'm becoming. I think I bought these also last summer to help with the exercise of finding matching colors for every color I could find a match for. And here's Prismacolor on, I don't know why I only have one sheet of it. I believe this might be in my other swatch book, which was specific for the exercise. Oh, because this is only 36. I bet it's front and back. Yep, so the 36 I have swatched front and back on my craft, which is for my traveler's journal projects. And then I do have, at one point I bought every cheap pencil that I could just get walking into a store. So I have Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree, and Walmart. In fact, the Staedtler 48 is a very inexpensive, but I bought them because they are triangular shaped and I love the feel of them, and they work very well, but they are down here in the very inexpensive category. And I have those swatches sitting out here from finishing up drawing my little Pegasus. The Fine Touch from Hobby Lobby, and then I do have a 50 set of Crayola. And I actually thought these did okay. I mean, if you look at the brightness of the colors, they are every bit as bright. If I go back just a few pages to Prismas, these colors on the Bristol vellum, meaning it's some tooth, so I did make sure that I didn't try to put them on a smooth surface. I put them on a toothier surface, and I thought they did a really nice job. And I don't even think I had to work all that hard to get the vibrancy, you know, as bright as the Prismacolor. So these are on vellum. So every one of my very inexpensive, the Dollar Trees I paid $1 at the time. Now it's $1.25. Hobby Lobby was a matter of the Fine Touch, maybe $5. No, I think it was even, they were on sale and I paid like $3. So they definitely are not as vivid. If you look at the color range, they are not as bright as even the Crayolas are. So I do also own the twistable Crayolas. I actually did some journaling in a Bible that it was lost. And at that point I had like a 50 set of twistables and I really liked those. Those worked really well. So now I have my swatches for my markers, and the first part being my alcohol blends from Stampin' Up, and then some color combinations, mixing blends with Copics. Here's the collection, the recollection of all of my Copics so far that I have. As you can see, I have not got all of them. My strategy was I had a certain set of color blending that I wanted. Then from there, I've only been getting them whenever they're on sale. And I think I own 246. Here's where at the very beginning, I didn't own all of the blends. I did own all the blends that they had, and my friend did not, my upline Libby. And so I did my best with what colors I had to give her some matches. But then since then, she's actually owns more Copics than I own now. So we ended up going in different directions. I have Artistro acrylic markers, more acrylic markers, metallic, what they look like on dark colors. I own a set of 22 Sharpies. And then this is my most recent, which I will talk about in a different video as my experience. I decided, based on reviews, that I wanted to get one more kind of a mid-tier quality pencil. So I went ahead and did Castle Art and bought both their gold and their regular. Pricing is an interesting discussion, so I'll table that for another video. And then I did want to actually get some nice gel pens, a more complete set. I own very few gel pens. And so I bought a full set, and I will have that discussion separately. Here's what they look like on the tester sheet, and then this is done on the basic white. Stampin' Up! Basic white, and then the metallics on the black. This section here, I'm working on this. This is a long, I've worked on this for, I don't know, 4 years, and I'm still not done with it. So it just sits in here. And I have some studies on making the look of metallics with the blends, and then going through my drawing studies, which I think I will finish in a different video so that this does not have to get any longer. Anyhow, so there's a whole bunch of new pencils that have not been swatched yet that I need to work on, and I will be sharing them with you in future videos. Be sure to spread the word on my channel. Leave any comments, questions, or concerns here on this video. I do have a blog, and I will have articles for the videos where it's warranted with any supplies of note. I do have an Amazon shop, and all of my pencils that can be purchased through Amazon are available. And the shop name is my name, Tracy Marie Lewis. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.